Welcome back, everybody, to the HTC Invitational. I'm your host, Nimsh, and I'm joined here by my co-host, Monk. How are you doing, man? We had two amazing matches so far.
Yeah, both matches went really down to the wire, 3-2, and unfortunately for the HTC players, both Forsen and Tice won their respective matches, and some pretty close games, especially that last one from Ekka versus Tice, where Tice, he just has all the answers to the Grim Patrons. He's able to full board clear with 2 Hellfires, and just a great series overall.
I just want to remind everyone, what are we doing here? We are playing a tournament. There is 16 players selected, 8 players sponsored by HTC, 8 players not sponsored by HTC yet. They are facing against each other. And we had some amazing stories. We had Forsen win versus Nairia game 1, and we had Tyson win versus Ecop. Those players are playing a single elimination bracket, so whoever loses is eliminated. The winner of the tournament tomorrow will be the guy who was never defeated by anyone. He will be the champion, the 100% winner. We'll have all those matches today, by the way. Savjz versus Hyped coming up next. Then we'll have, during the day, Strive Crow Dog, Colento Farba, Tide Zalaya, Show RDU, Tramp Chucky, Conquest Best of 5. Amazing decks, amazing players, amazing Hearthstone.
Yeah, certainly. Yeah, just overall, what an amazing series of the games we have coming up. Just so many great players. Pretty much all the big names in the scene right now will be competing for the awesome trophy of the HTC Championship. If we actually had a trophy,
overall.
Of course, $5,000. But if we actually had a trophy, I would like to have like a phone trophy being made, right? Wouldn't that be pretty awesome?
Yeah, that would be so cool, actually. And actually, maybe an actual phone that you can play Hearthstone on. Yeah. But $5,000 is amazing as well, and the first place winner is getting $2,500, which is enough to buy a good phone, I believe, and some other stuff, maybe even a couple of cards for Hearthstone. So pretty cool. And Monk, what are you expecting from this tournament? Like, what would you like to see?
Deck-wise, well, deck-wise, to be honest, I would like to see just a lot of more interesting decks. But to be honest, I fully expect to see a lot of Grim Patron Warriors, a lot of Handlocks and Zoos, and a lot of Hunters. And I wouldn't expect too much diversity, but for whichever player is able to pull out like the strange decks, like the more creative decks, I'll give bonus points to them.
We've already seen Maligo's Warlock being brought by Nairia. Unfortunately, he lost, but maybe we're going to see more Dragon decks. I personally would love to see more Dragon decks. Maybe Dragon Hunter, Dragon Warlock, that worked. Maybe one of the players will bring the Dragon Warrior with Nefarian and Ysera. That's stuff that's really exciting, and after the BRM release. But also, I would like to give a big shout out to Trump, and I'm sure we have a lot of Trump fans watching us right now because we are streaming on Trump's channel. So big thank you for kind of like giving us your channel to have this tournament. We promise not to break it, right, Monk?
No promises there.
Okay.
No promises.
Everything can happen.
Yeah.
We're going wild.
Trump W. To say hi.
Okay. All right. So Savjz versus Hyped coming up next. Team Liquid, Savjz versus Tempo Storm, Hyped. What do we know about those guys?
Yeah, Savjz obviously is one of the most renowned players in Hearthstone. He had really great success early on in Hearthstone, pretty much being the first legend player on both the NA and EU server, and he's kind of ridden his success out. Like even now, he's been winning just a lot of stuff. Sea Story Cup, he won ESL Legendary Series, one of the qualifiers last season. He won the OG and Invitational last year, and he also won an OGN show match earlier this year. So overall, just one of the most respected players in the scene. Meanwhile, we have Hyped, who he's another ladder god. He was rank 1 last year rather, in terms of BlizzCon points on the North American ladder. Recently though, although he hasn't had too many results, no tournament wins, he has been doing a little bit better in tournaments, just based on the kind of decks that he runs, which pretty much will be Mage, Druid, Hunter, and Rogue. But this tournament, he's actually going to be bringing something different. I've actually never seen Hyped play Warrior or Warlock in tournaments in the last few months, I would say. So definitely a bit of a change up from him.
Oh man, this is exciting. So we have Savjz versus Hyped. Hype bringing, as you said, Mage, Warlock, Warrior versus Savjz's lineup, which is one of the strongest lineup we talked about. Hunter, Warlock, and Warrior. We already see the Zoo. Is it the Zoo though? No, this is actually the Demon. How do you call this deck? Is it the Demon Zoo? Is it like a Demon Lock?
I like to call it my very technical name, which is Demon mid-range Demon Zoo, I guess.
All right, Monk. You know what? Let's design a new name for this deck. I'm going to call it Zeman Lock.
All right. Well, Zeman Lock it is, and we're gonna see a very esports-like Zeman Lock here because, wow, what a great implosion here. And I like trading into the broken down Harvest Golem because this allows something like a Goblin Blast Mage on the following turn, and that's actually gonna be really great.
What do you think about running Harvest Golem in Mage? Do you like it?
It's a tech choice that Hyped has brought in, and I think it's inspired by actually one of his teammates, Reynad. Reynad was like the first person to put in the Harvest Golems in, and it's just like kind of like I keep wanting to like talk with Hyped about his decision to do that. I guess it's more of a stickier minion, and I would like to think that it's actually better in this matchup.
Yeah, I also like it. And talking about teammates from Hype, the Temple Storm guys, they really like Mage, and they are bringing mostly the version with Water Elementals and Blingtron. So I wonder if we are going to see those cards in Hype's deck.
Yeah, Hype's Mage deck that I've seen him use so many times. He has Harvest Golems, but no Water Elementals, and he has Blingtrons. So just or one Blingtron rather, because you can only have one. So those are kind of like the small choices that Hyped has changed into the Mage deck.
Also, running Lothab is not that usual. Like sometimes people run Lothab, sometimes people cut it in favor of Azure Drakes or maybe Ragnaros. Like it really depends. Like Mage is still fluctuating. Say like there is a couple of slots you can change. Is he going to play that Blast Mage? I guess he... wait.
I think Savjz might be having some problems here. Because... yeah, I'm not sure what's going on, because it's actually Savjz's turn, I believe. Is this game bugged? Because...
yeah, we might have... It seems like we have a spectator bug.
Well, it might actually just be the actual game bugging, because Savjz certainly had like some very strange reactions.
Floating Nerubian Egg?
Yeah, floating Nerubian Egg, floating Haunted Creeper.
Are you sure it's a game bug though? Because you know we have a lot of dragons now, right? After BRM. So maybe the Nerubian Egg kind of like wanted to be a dragon and tried flying on top of the board. Is it possible?
That was a great joke, Nimsh. I appreciated it. But no, unfortunately, it's not a dragon egg, Nimsh. You have to
get
the two eggs straightened out. Yeah, it's a Nerubian egg. So it's a spider, and I don't think spiders think they're dragons.
Well, but you know, you can confuse the eggs, right? Because most of the eggs, they look the same anyway. Would you be able, like, if I give you two eggs, and one is in the Nerubian, one is a dragon egg, would you be able to say which is which?
Probably not, because I would be like, hey, these are just chicken eggs. There's no such thing as Nerubian eggs or dragon eggs in the real world.
Alright, all eggs looks like chicken.
You should probably... back. Yeah, we're back. You should probably play less WoW or less Hearthstone, I guess, if you think these things actually exist in the real world, right?
I never said that, but all right, Monk. So apparently there was a observer mode bug. So we do have this Voiter on the board at 4/7.
Yeah, I think what Savjz was actually reacting to was that Goblin Blast Mage. And what happened was probably that the Goblin Blast Mage killed all the minions from Savjz.
It certainly looks that way, because Pilot Shredder is undamaged, and there's a very good board for Hype. Alright, so what's the overall board state here? Who's winning? Who's behind?
Well, I think Savjz, in terms of board state, he'll definitely be winning on the next turn. But what he's really afraid of is... just his opponent bursting him down with fireballs, but that Defender of Argus was probably exactly what Savjz needed. Like doing a Knife Juggler into Defender of Argus and following that up with Dr. Boom is going to be pretty great, I would say. Then even following that up with a Bane of Doom to possibly summon either either the Felguard or a Mal'Ganis will actually protect Savjz fairly well from any fireballs that Hyped may be able to draw.
Yeah, it looks pretty amazing, and also getting the 5/8. What do you think about getting... Okay, I like it. Like, he uses the 1/1 to just get the shield out. There was a small possibility of the knife hitting the shield, but then this board is actually amazing. Can he clear... Do you go for the mech clear?
I think the Blast Mage represents more of a threat, just by its attacking power. So I actually like clearing off the Blast Mage with your Nubian Spider and then going for face. The Mech Mage probably won't have many silences, or yeah, they don't have any silences. So I think that this Void Terror is pretty safe, unless Hyped gets a reversing switch off this Tinkertown Technician.
Oh, he has a Harrison Jones. That's a nice tech, especially because of Green Patron. Mech Mage is not that good versus Green Patron deck, but with Harrison Jones, it might actually be much better. Also here, there is a couple of traps, though. Like we said, Savjz is in a good position to regain board control, but Piloted Shredder can always change into something nasty, like a Flame Tongue. Doomsayer is not that amazing here, but Flame Tongue, I think, is pretty good. Also, the Mad Scientist and the Mirror Entity. That will stop Dr. Boom from being played next turn.
Yeah, certainly. That maybe will force a Bane of Doom, for instance. And what that Harrison Jones tells me is that, yeah, indeed, Hyped is running Blingtron in his Mech Mage, because I don't think you're going to run Harrison Jones and Mech Mage if you don't run Blingtron.
But then look how many 5-drops he's running. Maybe he actually cut the Azure Drakes, because normally you're running double Azure Drake, but here with Lotheb and Harrison Jones, if you run Blingtron as well, I will believe Azure Drakes are not in this deck.
Oh, Patient Assassin. That's a great one, because that can actually just kill the Dr. Boom.
That's true. That's an amazing card. And he's getting the Mirror Entity, I believe. There is a slight chance it's a counterspell. Alright, this is Mirror Entity.
Yeah, this combination of Mirror Entity and Lotheb just kind of locks Savjz out of so many options. It's hard for him to play spells, or actually impossible for him to play spells at this point. And it's going to be difficult for him to play minions because they just get copied.
Also, he's so low on health. So right now, if he goes for Boom, he has to kill a Patient Assassin, and then he has Dr. Boom on the opposing side of the board. So you have to go for the Void Caller. But if you go for the Void Caller, it's still not looking great, and he must be thinking about one Fireball at least. If there is one Fireball, he's dead. Right?
Exactly.
Alright, maybe not exactly. But also the Knife Juggler is weird here. So let's say if you are afraid of hitting the Nerubian Egg with the Juggle, do you attack into the 5/5 and then you play Void Caller, giving your opponent possible 5 points of damage. Well, Sea Giant is not really a thing you want, so still Void Caller play. A good thing for Savjz is that when the Void Caller dies, oh, he's not going for the Void Caller this turn. But if Void Caller will be dead there, there is a chance for a second Void Caller to come to play.
I think what he was thinking was that if you played Void Caller, then if his opponent had Fireball in hand, that would have been lethal. Oh, that's really cute from Hyped, activating his own Nerubian Egg with a ping.
Well, he's certainly not afraid of Flame Strike or Shadow Flame.
Yeah, Savjz has to tap at this point, and yeah, I believe that's it. Nothing that Savjz can do.
Yep.
He's just testing out the secrets here to see if his opponent had a counterspell, but unfortunately, Hype's Mech Mage deck has won that game. It's won, I would say, probably an unfavorable matchup, and Hyped will get 1 point on the board.
Yeah, it's very good by Hyped. So Hyped is going to win that game and have a lead over Savjz. We can see Hyped already looking at the notes. Both players are really analytical. I would say like their playstyle is kind of similar. Would you agree?
I guess they're both they both tend to be more control-y players, but they're not afraid to, for instance, run a Mech Mage. But I don't think they're Savjz at least isn't like an aggro hunter player, or are a face hunter player. So yeah, I would say your assessment is probably correct. They do have very similar play styles. They both like rogue a lot, for instance. Hyped being like one of the best rogues in the world, pretty much known for rogue.
Yeah, Savjz loves rogue as well. All right, so right now we are going to see Warrior versus Hunter. The guess is Green Patron versus mid-range. Well, with Glaive-Zuka, it seems like face.
Well, I would probably say that this is probably going to be the hybrid version of Hunter that Savjz has been playing recently. It's a very good list.
Weapons.
Yeah, weapons are good, but I mean, having 3 of them probably not like the best thing that you want.
The question is, do you want 2 of them? Do you keep Fireworks and Deathspite?
I think that Deathspite is actually really good against like animal companions. It's good against piloted shredders. So I wouldn't mind keeping them. The problem is if your opponent just has a lot of like weak creatures on the board that Fire Warx can't deal with, and then after Fire Warx you want to equip the Deathspite, and sometimes you're just taking way too much damage to face.
All right, so Hype's keeping 2 weapons in hands.
That hand though, it's just like it's perfect for Hyped, but at the same time, Savjz has a good hand as well. Like he's going to be able to curve out really well with his hand. 2-drop, 3-drop, 4-drop, and he can even fit in a coin somewhere in there.
For Summon Hymen. Oh wow, and he gets a 1-drop as well. Leper Nimsh comes to the play. You know, I'm so happy that people finally realize that Leper Gnome is essential in Hunter, even if you're running high mains. That's the card. You have to play Leper Gnome.
Of course, Nimsh. You would be happy. That is the essential Nimsh card for those of you who are not as familiar with Nimsh.
It is. It is a great aggro card, great 1-drop. A bit overshadowed in the times of Undertaker, but right now it's back. Dealing damage to Green Patron though is a bit awkward because now Savjz enabled the Battle Rage. But then again, he is the one being aggressive.
Yeah, I think as the Hunter player, you can't really play too much around Battle Rage. And wow, look at that, a shield block and a shield slam. That means this is actually, it's
Control Warrior.
Yeah, it's Control Warrior, not Patron Warrior. And I think that's definitely because he, like, Patron Warrior is obviously like most people regard it as the stronger deck, but Control Warrior, a lot of people regard as a counter to Grim Patron Warrior. So definitely an interesting choice for Hype to bring kind of like the counter to the best decks rather than just playing the best decks by themselves.
It is definitely a contender, but then against this kind of Hunter, the matchup is similar, I'd say. Or is it favoring the Hunter more? Because of the high mains that we haven't seen yet, but we assume this is the mid-range hybrid with the high mains.
I think it's about 50-50 to be honest. Like Warrior does have a hard time dealing with high mains, but yeah, there's just like so many ways for Warrior to like curve out really well, as you can see from Hyped in the situation, that it's not too big of a threat, I think.
A very interesting play of Acolyte on free, just playing into the weapon. So this means that he is not really expecting to draw more cards from it, just wants to trade it with the weapon charge.
Yeah, I don't think you can be too greedy here. Like just getting 1 card from the Acolyte and using up that 1 charge is kind of okay.
The benefit is that when you use the charge, at least you get rid of the weapon, so then the weapon is not being powered by secrets being played maybe in the future. So that's alright.
Savjz definitely not happy to see that Deathspite, and it looks like just Hyped has all the answers. A big part about this matchup is being able to set up your turn 6 or the Hunter's turn 6 in order to fit that high main in, and Hyped is actually doing a very good job preventing some good turns being set up, even though Savjz has drawn pretty well, curving out pretty well. It's just that these weapons they get so much value from killing off these mid-range minions.
Oh yeah, certainly. And Hype has like a lot of ways to heal himself up as well. So right now it's looking pretty good. I mean, he just has to take his time and just keep playing his cards. This is the Contra Warrior. Just you have to be patient. You have to answer what's being played on board. Nerubian Egg is Savjz is just face bombing. It's like, oh, I wanted a minion that is going to deal damage. And this is not doing any damage for now, at least. But it's good versus Brawl in the long run.
Yeah, it protects you against Brawl. And you know what, Savjz? We have seen Savjz is running Glaive Zukas, so this egg might actually get activated in the future.
Looking at Savjz, I'm thinking he's actually pretty blue right now. Do you think he's feeling blue? Especially after the Nubian egg?
Yeah, if he were green, he would die.
Oh, look at that high main in time.
It's gonna be a decent high main, but the issue is like Hyped is set up to deal with this high main. His board is actually fairly strong, and he has a shield block plus shield slam combo.
Yeah, but on the other hand, it is still a lot of resources to deal with the high main, and Hype is kind of running out of cards. Like, Shield Block is going to bring him one card. Whenever I'm playing versus Warrior, and I'm looking at Warrior having only 4 cards, I'm like, yeah, Warrior is running out of cards. Because if Warrior, like, normally, Warrior will have 7 plus. With 4 cards, it's possible that the hand is actually clunky with Ragnaros maybe, or like Grommash, that's not going to do a lot on turn 6. So here's Savjz just playing a couple of minions and preparing that high main turn. Or maybe a Knife Juggler turn next turn.
Wow, it's Hype drawing all 4 weapons in his in like the first 10 cards of his deck. And normally like that's actually a bad thing, but against this type of mid-range hunter that just tries to put mid-range creatures on the board, it actually is going to turn out fairly well.
Yeah, it's looking pretty good. What do you think about just Death Spite here? Because you do expect the high main on 6. Attack maybe into Haunted Creeper and kill the minions with your minions. Just giving yourself 2 armor, keeping a 4/1 on board, and keeping the Death Spite effect.
Yeah, I like it.
And then you can even armor up because you do have mana. Is he going ham with a 4/2?
I think what he's doing here is he just wants to get that attack in because he's gonna kill the Mad Scientist, and possibly like there's possibly like a freezing or either a freezing trap or an explosive trap here.
Sure. All right, then turn 6 high main. Or is it not the high main time? Still, throwing the high main on this board, it's not something you really want to be doing, because you do see a lot of ways to deal with it. With Grommash for Hyped, I think you do test for the trap first. Like, you do have to analyze everything, but if this is a freezing trap, what happens? What do you attack with first?
I guess perhaps you maybe... I'm not sure which minion you value more on the field, to be honest. Perhaps you want the Armor Smith on the field because it interacts with Brawl a little better. I mean, Brawl plus Armor Smith is a combo after all.
Yeah, Armor Smith always wins. Do you think Brawl is any option here with so many different minions? I think this is so Brawl-proof. This is the most Brawl-proof board I've seen in a while.
Yeah, exactly. I'm just pretty much all of Savjz's minions have Death Rattle at this point. And I think Hyped might be he might be regretting not equipping the Death Spite on the previous turn.
Yeah, to counter that high main. Alright, so I guess he is going for the Death Spite now. Oh, he's going for the kill actually. Wow.
Amazing. He's setting up for the Grom kill, so Savjz actually needs some kind of taunt here in order to survive.
And he doesn't. He has Wolf Rider. And this is not enough, right? With this, that's 8 points of damage, plus 2, 10, 17. Way off. Way off. No way to draw anything, so I believe that's actually 13 points of damage, and Hype is going to win this next turn. On the back of Grommash.
Yeah, pretty amazing there. Like, this is definitely not how this matchup typically goes, and I think a lot of it was because Hype just drew all his weapons into all his removal early, and just happened to be exactly what he needed. Like, he didn't draw into any of his 8 or 9 drops, his big legendary minions, until probably turn 5 or 6. And it just turned out really well with the Cruel Taskmaster to deal with the Leper Gnome, with just weapons to deal with everything, just all the answers.
Oh yeah, and I want to just only stress the fact that we were talking about how to deal with the board and how Hype can deal with the high main, maybe how to trade, with what to attack, but Hype realized instantly that this is a turn where I can just set up lethal for next one and just grasp the victory. And many times people are like saying, hey, I couldn't do anything because he played all the stuff. Just ignore the stuff and then grasp the opportunity to win the game. And here he's getting a win, game 2, and extending the lead over Savjz 2-0. Monk, this is the third time. The third time today, one of the players is getting a 2-0 start. Are we going to see Savjz winning? Are we going to see game 5, basically?
It's certainly possible. Like, if the trend continues, we are going to see game 5, and if the trend continues, like, maybe even Savjz will bring the series back, winning 3 games in a row. Judging from the last deck, Hyped is going to be doing Warlock, and I would have to guess that this is probably going to be a Zoo, because I've actually never seen Hyped play Handlock, and Hype, admittedly, he actually is not, he says himself he's like not the best Handlock player in the world, but we actually do see Handlock from Hyped, so very interesting there.
All right, so Handlock from Hyped and Hybrid from Savjz, and this Hybrid Hunter. Oh man, it's like I'm looking at this and I can still wrap my head around it. Just seeing Wolf Rider and High Main and Leper Gnomes, it's so awkward, right? But then it actually works. And Pilot Shredder as well. But it's so what was actually cut from the deck? I believe Arcane Golem, right? Like, this deck is not running Arcane Golems.
Usually the deck runs 1 Arcane Golem. Like, the creatures that are cut from Midrange Hunter, for example, are they don't run Dr. Boom or Ragnaros, like the high-end creatures. They don't run like Sludge Belchers, no Hound Masters. Whereas if you're looking from a Face Hunter perspective, there's no such things as Worgen Infiltrators or Leroy Jenkins, or a second Arcane Golem, for instance.
All right. So again, we're going to see the Leper Gnome start for Savjz, an amazing start, get the damage done. And for Hyped, this is not great. This is okay, but this hand is not great right now, at least. So who has an edge in this matchup?
It's pretty good. I would definitely say the Hybrid Hunter. Pretty much like they have the ability to put so much pressure on the opponent's board and then finish everything off with either quick shots or kill commands. Just so much reach from the Hunter's perspective.
Also, like having Lothab being a card that can lock the spells in a key turn. High Main that's not easily countered because of no Siphon Souls. So it's kind of like a board battle, right? Like, Warlock needs some kind of board to stop the Hunter or to have a big Shadow Flame to clear. But, or do you go for face more? Like, what do you do as a Hunter? How do you play the game?
I think it depends on what your opponent is doing. And I kind of really like, if your opponent is playing this Sun Fury Protector on 2, like, I think it's going to be more of a board control game at this point. It's compared to like Face Hunter, it's not nearly as board control-y, I would say. Savjz goes for the quick shot, and that's actually going to turn out fairly poorly for him, because quick shot is one of those cards you really want in the later stages of the game, in order to deal those final 3 points of damage to your opponent directly after he gets a board full of taunts. And also, Typed has a Mortal Coil anyway, so Savjz's thought process was that, okay, I get to save Mortal Coil, but unfortunately it was not meant to be.
All right. And I want to remind everyone that we are watching HTC Invitational right now with Nimsh and Monk. And guys, we are having a giveaway as well. So if you want to get some swag, tweet at HTC Esports, the hashtag HTC Esports, and say if you like the tournament and give us some feedback. You will be able to get into a draw of some giveaways. We're giving some shirts, some jerseys, right? 1 phone, I believe, 2 tablets. So a lot of cool stuff.
Yeah, just a lot of great stuff for any of you Hearthstone fans out there, because you can play Hearthstone on 2 of those 3 things that we're giving away. I'll give you a hint.
I want to play on jerseys, man. I want to play Hearthstone jerseys.
Well, you can play on a tablet while you're wearing a jersey, or you can play it on the tablet on top of a jersey that you have on your bed, for instance.
If we ever get a tabletop Hearthstone, like printed cards, we will be able to play on jerseys. Just use jerseys as play mats, you know, just put them on the table. One can dream. Alright, Monk, so what's happening here? High main on 5. This is powerful.
Yep. Definitely. And even though Hyped will be able to practice Freezing Trap with anti-heal bot, I don't think it's going to matter that much, because first of all, Hype drew the second anti-heal bot, and second of all, healing for 7 mana for 8 health actually isn't that great against a Hunter player who sometimes has the opportunity to just deal way more damage than that on a single turn.
But then again, Savjz is running out of cards. He only has 3 cards in hand. He will be able to play a card each turn, but that Sylvanas is kind of countering high main. Because you can't really play... Do you go for a 50-50 dog?
Oh, man.
Also, like, Hype is so high on health that going for face here, is it dangerous?
Dangerous for which player?
Dangerous for Savjz, because you do get into possible Molten Giant range, and you leave the Sylvanas on board.
I don't think you're too afraid of Molten Giants at this stage, and as the Hunter player, I think you kind of have to play with the thought in mind that he might not have 2 Molten Giants, because if your opponent has 2 Molten Giants and a Taunter and healers, he's probably going to win the game anyway. So in the same respect as the Warlock player can't play around 2 kill commands, you can't play around 2 Molten Giants.
What do you think about the Ancient Watcher this turn, Defender of Argus, and go for face with Sylvanas? 15, you're not going to get killed by spells on 15 health. It's not like your opponent will double kill command you, double quick shot you. Or like double kill command, quick shots, hero power. So maybe just setting up a taunt wall and forcing your opponent to trade into that Sylvanas. Just getting some damage in.
Okay, yeah, Hype's gonna go with like the full board clear, probably the most defensive play, and I kind of like that because of what you have in your hand right now. Basically, you do have a Molten Giant, you do have Taunters, and you do have lots of healing.
Heal bots, yeah.
Yeah, 2 heal bots even. So the hand that Hyped has right now is pretty much the ideal hand for him. Even a Defender of Argus, so he can actually kill this Lotheb without sacrificing his own Lotheb.
Oh man, if he would get a second Molten Giant, that'd be so powerful. But still, this turn will be amazing. Can you like do everything? No, okay. Because there was Lotheb, you will not be able to play Dark Bomb. But still, just Defender of Argus, so good.
Yeah, Nips, you can't play everything in your hand right now. That's about 20 mana.
I was thinking like Molten Giant, Defender of Argus, and then use the Dark Bomb on Lotheb and attack with Iron Beak. But well, you unfortunately can't. Still,
I don't think Hype minds trading Lothebs here. I mean, if this were like a card game, like a poker game, for instance, like the Golden Lotheb would beat the regular Lotheb. It's kind of like the Golden Joker, or the colored Joker beats the black Joker.
Kind of. Alright, so super powerful turn. There is a big taunt, back to 19. Double kill command is certainly powerful, but not enough. But there is no lethal for Hyped yet. Savjz knows this is not the heal bot he returned with Freezing Trap.
Yeah, so even though he has 2 kill commands, which is like pretty much exactly what you want in the late game, with Hype's 2 heal bots, Hyped will be able to heal for 24 damage this game, which is just way too much damage for the Hunter to deal with normally.
So what do? Do you just unleash and abuse the Sergeant to kill the 3/3 and leave the dogs on board? You might, but then like, it's not really doing anything. And this deck is not running silences, right? Iron Beak being cut.
I think it runs 1 silence.
1 silence makes sense, but then no Hunter's Mark. Well, double kill command is a lot of damage, but not enough to deal with 25 after the second heal bot.
Yeah, what Savjz is really hoping for here is maybe a top deck owl, so he'll be able to get like this damage in from his hounds, and with the top decked owl, he'll also be able to double kill command his opponent's face.
Yeah,
But,
because
like,
it's possible
even
that hounds are going to survive here.
Exactly. Even in the ideal situation, though, I don't think Savjz can take this game, unfortunately.
Yeah, looking really bad for Savjz right now. So Hype just setting up lethal for next turn. Now the question is how many dogs is he going to kill, or if any. Alright, he feels that there is no need to kill much stuff. Even with double kill commands and quick shots. Is it possible with quick shot into quick shot to win this? So double kill command is 6 mana, then he's 3 left.
Well,
Not really.
Savjz already used his first quick shot, and I believe this deck only runs 1 quick shot, so it's probably not a possibility.
Alright.
Savjz will be looking to survive the following turn, and I believe he can do so, but he'll have to give up both kill commands. Which is kind of like giving up like your win conditions altogether.
This is tough. You're looking at those dogs. Can't really do much. What would you do, Monk? What would you do?
Is it time to kill command yourself in the face twice is the real question.
I think it is that time. Or kill command the dogs? Alright, so he's just going for kill command face his opponents. Can he stop lethal here, at least?
5. Yeah, that's actually not enough, but we can see from Hype's hand he has a Ragnaros and he has a Dark Bomb. So
Yep.
even though Savjz was 1 damage off from lethal, from his perspective, it was pretty much over.
Alright, so Hype from Temple Storm is going to take the series versus Team Liquid Savjz. And what a series that was. Hype bringing some interesting decks, like, you know, the Mage with a twist with Hearthstone Jones. Then he had, what was the second deck that he was playing? Control Warrior, also a bit different, and a Handlock. So an interesting lineup. He's going to advance to tomorrow to the top 8, and Savjz eliminated. That's the second Team Liquid player eliminated from the tournament, unfortunately, and a third HTC sponsored player, I believe.
Yeah. Well, fortunately, I'm still in the tournament, so there will never be 0 Team Liquid players in this tournament, right?
Yeah, that's true. So Team Liquid and Cloud9 is going to stay alive for sure, whatever happens. The next match, I believe, will be Strifecrow versus Dog. And that will be the last match of that bracket. The winner of Strike versus Dog is going to play versus Hyped. But right now we're going for a short break, so don't go anywhere, stay tuned, and we're going to be back soon.